This is in the Panthers Pit, a closer look at Batesburg-Leesville High School football, and a conversation with Panther head coach Gary Adams. Presented on Carolina's Community Radio by the Twin City News, Batesburg-Leesville hometown news source since 1925. And Ameriprise Financial Advisors, Trey Bruner and Hayward Barnes, serving their community with offices in Batesburg, Leesville, and Aiken. Now, here with the coach is Twin City News Sports Editor Jay Hendrix.
Hello and welcome into the Panther Pit with head football coach Gary Adams. I am Jay Hendrix, and we are talking Batesburg-Leesville football once again. Last week, the Panthers went on the road against a top 5 Gray Collegiate team, went toe-to-toe with the War Eagles, led throughout the second half, but unfortunately came up short 27-20 to the War Eagles. A quick look back at that game, both teams traded touchdowns to start the first half, and the game was tied 7-7. 2 touchdowns by the War Eagles in the second quarter gave them a 19-7 lead before the Panthers stormed back. Marvin Gann had a 31-yard touchdown reception on a screen and made it 19-14. And then just before the half, Chris Witt came up with a big interception return for a touchdown, and B&L led 20-19. Coach, do you want to touch base on a couple of those big plays in the first half by the Panthers?
Yeah, of course, Chris Witt's interception on the screen, that was a huge momentum boost for us. Got us back in the game. And after Marvin had his touchdown run, and it gave us a lot more life, gave us a lot of energy going into the half. So it really gave us a spark, and it brought us back from the halftime playing well as well.
Yeah, and that second half was a battle. The defense just kept hanging in there. The Panthers were a bend but don't break defense. They had 2 goal line stands, forcing turnovers on downs from the War Eagles. Sophomore Corey Williams came up with a key interception, and we got late into the game. B&L still clinging to that 20-19 lead, and unfortunately the War Eagles were able to drive down just before the end of the game, scoring a touchdown with 1:21 to take a 27-20 lead, and then the Panthers unable to get any points on the board, and the game ended 27-20. You mentioned off the air, Corey Williams, a young guy that came up with that big interception. Say a few words about Corey.
Corey's just a smart kid, really loves the game of football. We were joking, size-wise, when you see him, you don't think football player. He's not the biggest linebacker there is, but he's a very smart football player with a huge heart. Just always that kid that's always in the right place at the right time. Works hard, hustles, good at getting. He's a general out there on the field. He's real good at getting everybody where they're supposed to be. A lot of the times in practice, when we go, he's over there on scout team defense. He always wants to work scout team defense because he wants to go against our best. And a lot of the times he'll make all of the checks on his own. So he's a very smart kid, very knowledgeable about what our defense, what we expect of our defense, and just a great kid.
So definitely want to look for more from Corey Williams in the coming weeks. Again, Panthers fell in Week 1, 27-20. That was the opener of Region 4 AA play. Panthers will be back in action this Friday night at the Panther Pit, Panther Stadium, against Eau Claire. And we'll talk about that matchup in just a moment.
Feel more confident and in control of your financial life. Ameriprise Advisors can work with you to provide personalized, goal-based advice based on your short and long-term goals. Plus, you can track your investments and financial solutions with our digital tools and regular meetings. Call Ameriprise Financial Advisors Trey Bruner and Hayward Barnes today at 803-641-2192. That's 803-641-2192. Office is located at 152 Lawrence Street Northwest in Aiken. Ameriprise Financial Solutions, LLC. Member FINRA and SIPC.
And welcome back into the Panther Pit. Coach Gary Adams with me, and we're still talking a little bit of football from the past week as B&L fell 27-20 at Gray Collegiate. Coach, you wanted to touch on some of those fourth quarter dynamics. Gray took over with about 6 minutes to play in the game, and take it away from there.
Well, I felt really good at that point in time. About 6 minutes left in the game, we got them in a situation where it was 1st and 30, and with 6 minutes left in the game, my thoughts were, if we can make them have to go 4 downs and end up punting or coming up short on fourth down, we would burn at least maybe 2 more minutes off the clock, and that would put us in a great position. But unfortunately, we had a problem with missed tackles Friday night, and that really did hurt us because of missed tackles and not being in the right place at the right time. They ended up getting a 22-yard run on first down, and you went from 1st and 30 to 2nd and 8, and that kind of gave them a whole lot of momentum coming back into that situation. And I feel like if we would have been able to capitalize on that, that would have been probably the nail in the coffin, probably. Because that would have put them in a situation where they had 3 drives that came up unsuccessful, and now we could probably burn some time off the clock. And even if we ended up having to punt the ball, if we could have pinned them deep, by the time they get the ball back, it's probably under 2 minutes.
And KZ Adams was the star of the game for the War Eagles. He had over 200 yards rushing, including that 22-yard run you mentioned. And he was also the culprit that got away from a lot of arm tackles. So, fortunately, we don't have a KZ Adams coming into town this week for Eau Claire. So hopefully we will be able to correct some of those errors and be in a better position this week. Did you want to touch on our last series? The Panthers started deep, got a first down, got a penalty, moved out towards midfield, and had a chance late, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, even after the score, we still had a chance. We had a minute and some change on the clock, and we moved the ball, had a deep ball chance that didn't come up successful. Then we had a couple of screen plays, and then unfortunately we just ended up running out of time. But we moved the ball and made some plays to get on the advance ball up the field. But in that last play, we just unfortunately ran out of time.
Well, one of those stars of the offense was Marvin Gant, your senior leader on both offense and defense. He led the team with 10 receptions Friday night and came up big with a 4th down reception and heady play, getting out of bounds, stopping the clock, and give the offense a couple more chances at the end zone. Say a few things about Marvin.
Marvin, just a great senior. He knows the game of football, very smart football player. He's just we use him to run the ball, catch the ball. He's got good hands coming out of the backfield. He even had a great return that started us off in a good field position. He's just one of those kids that, he can do a lot. He can catch the ball, can run the ball, be a punt returner, kick returner. Last year we played him as a defensive end to rush the quarterback, but right now he's playing strong safety for us. Just an athletic kid that can do a lot.
And I don't know him that well. Obviously, I got a few years on him. But it seems like his determination to win is just massive. He just wants to win and compete.
Yeah, and I tell you, I feel like that's a lot of our kids, and that's why this one was really tough to swallow, because they're very competitive, and like I told him, I said, it's tough to – I hate losing, even with my own son. If we're playing a video game, I hate losing to him even in a video game. But like I told him, we'll bounce back. We'll bounce back from this. We just got to spend this week working on correcting our mistakes, fixing us. And we're a good football team, and I think we'll bounce back.
Speaking of Javante, I imagine he talks a little bit of junk if he does beat you in video games.
Oh, yeah, and that's another reason why I hate losing to him.
He and Wyatt have a couple of things in common there. Looking ahead to this week, Panthers back home in Panther Stadium for the season opener. It is also Homecoming 2020 and Senior Night with COVID-19 in full effect, wanting to make sure you get those major events under your belt. But also we want to talk about the ticketing for Friday night. It is online. Explain to the fans how ticketing will work.
Yes, this year to kind of stop the exchanging of money and also to be able to get the fans in and out a little bit faster. We're doing online ticketing this year. You can go to blpanthers.com. If you look at the top right, it'll say tickets. You can click on tickets and purchase tickets online. Ticket sales for the general public will always go on sale on Wednesdays for home games. And I just feel like that's a better way of handling things right now with COVID-19. The best way to do it is to go to blpanthers.com on your phone to purchase your ticket, because that way, once you have purchased your ticket, you can pull it up on your phone and it'll show if you purchase 2 tickets, 4 tickets, you show it to the person at the gate, and you and your guest walk right on in.
Very good. So blpanthers.com is your site to go to get your ticketing for Panther football for 2020 home games. And also, we're going to work on it. We're going to try to have an online program. So if you want to also go to blpanthers.com, that'll be available sometime this week. So you can pull up a free program to help follow along. Games will be broadcast on WBLR AM 1430 and 103.3 FM. If you don't feel safe coming out to the game, you can watch us online at YouTube or listen in on Carolina Community Radio. You can listen on the radio Friday night and follow along as the Panthers take on the Eau Claire Shamrocks. Real quick about Eau Claire, just tell us a little bit about their offense and their defense.
Well, real quick, I also want to let people know that on Wednesdays we will also have, for those that are not as tech savvy as they need to be, we will also have a few tickets on sale here at the school. So you can also purchase tickets here on Wednesdays. We'll get with you and let you know those times later.
Okay. And all right, so let's look ahead to Eau Claire and what they bring into Panther Stadium Friday night. They're coming off a big loss against Saluda in Week 1.
Well, I mean, I've talked with their coach before, and I'm wanted to, they're virtual right now, totally virtual, and then, I know how tough sometimes it can be getting kids to practice when they have been sitting at home all day. So that's probably one of the things that he's probably dealing with. And everybody's had the situation of limited practices. So, they had a couple of, mishaps Friday night that Saluda was able to capitalize on. They got some athletic kids that are out there. We just got to be able to do the same thing, capitalize on the mistakes that teams make early so that we can benefit from it.
Very good. So Panthers taking on the Eau Claire Shamrocks. That'll be Friday night, 7:30 kickoff at Panther Stadium. Get your tickets online at blpanthers.com, and we will see you in the pit Friday night. But we will be back in just a moment with a visit with offensive coordinator RON McKIE.
Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Ameriprise Advisors can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help you prepare for whatever life brings, so you can feel more confident about your financial future. Call Ameriprise Financial Advisors Trey Bruner and Hayward Barnes, a financial advisory practice at Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, at 803-641-2192. That's 803-641-2192. Office is located at 152 Lawrence Street Northwest in Aiken. Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
And welcome back into the Panther Pit. Jay Hendrix alongside Batesburg-Leesville offensive coordinator RON McKIE. Coach McKIE came to Batesburg-Leesville this offseason from Crestwood High School, where he'd served 5 years and had been the offensive coordinator. And Coach McKIE, welcome to Batesburg-Leesville.
Thank you for having me.
And just talk a little bit about that transition without spring practice and what has gone on in the last 6 months.
Hopefully this is a one-in-a-lifetime transition, because coming to a new school in the middle of a pandemic and not being able to see the kids, I want to say August, was that it? Yeah, face-to-face. Usually it was on Zoom meetings. That was a little bit difficult because, when you come in, you want to make that connection because you're brand new, the kids don't know you, anything like that. So you want to make that connection, but it's very difficult to do that through online and everything. But we rose to the challenge. The kids were very engaged. They wanted to learn the offense. We got on Zoom meetings probably once a week or twice a week, and I was able to connect with them through that. It's been fun, honestly. I'm not saying that to be a smart butt. It has been fun because it poses challenge. But like I tell the kids, you can look at it one of two ways. You can mope about the challenges, or you can use it as an example like, hey, we can get better through this. There's a learning experience in that, and we learned that you have to simplify. Like, you can't be complex. Whatever you had coming in, it can't be that way because you only have like a certain amount of practices before the season starts. So where can you meet the players halfway where they're at already?
And so explain that. Batesburg-Leesville under Perry Woolbright in the first 3 years of Gary Adams ran a spread formation, which was a little bit new for Panther fans who are more used to I formation and a power running game. So tell us what your offense is different from the previous offenses.
We like to throw the ball a little bit more. And they were spread, but see, the spread has several different connotations. The spread is you think you spread it out and then you run it, but you can still run the ball from the spread and just trick people. I like to get our athletes in space where they don't have to run between 8 different people in the box. You get people like Marvin or Madre or Bill in space, and it's just one-on-one. And to me, that's, as a coach, that's all you have to do. My job is done if we get our player one-on-one with their player, because I know that our player is better than their player and they're going to make that guy miss. So we're quick hitting, just get the ball out fast, make things simple.
And I love the fact, as you call the players by name, Marvin Gant, Amadre Leapart, and then Bill, for those not familiar, Demaje Long, because Bill is obviously short for Demaje. That's just the way it is. You get a nickname and it sticks. Well, Coach, tell everybody a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and your father, and some of your coaching experiences.
I'm originally from North Augusta. I'm the oddball out in my family. Everybody in my family played basketball. My dad played basketball, coached basketball. My aunt is a Hall of Fame basketball coach and player. So is my uncle. My cousin is up at at PC. He's the assistant head coach.
That would be sacrilegious if you said Newberry instead of PC.
I know.
He's going to see that too.
I'm probably going to get a strongly worded text from him later on when he sees this. But I liked football. So I've been a part of football my entire life. I was at North Augusta, transferred to Camden, won a state championship while playing at Camden. I went to Newberry. I was a linebacker. I was a little bit, I wouldn't say bigger because I'm pretty big right now, but muscular. And I played 1 year, tore my arm up. So luckily, and this is something we stress to the kids as well, I had the grades to transfer. Met my wife at USC, Columbia, married, went back to Camden, coached there for 5 years, both on offense and defense. And the past 5 years I've been at Crestwood, where we transitioned from a straight-up wing T to the spread. You want to talk about one thing. I think in one game we threw the ball more than they had in their 22-year history, because they were wing T their entire history until I got there. And then I saw this job open up, and I think I bugged Coach Adams about 5 or 6 times with the emails, and he was probably like, what the heck is this? This guy needs to leave me alone. But I was persistent, and I'm fortunate enough to come up here.
So what attracted you to Batesburg-Leesville from Crestwood? Because Crestwood's a little bit bigger school.
History.
Okay.
The history. And I've always kept an eye on them. They're always winning games. And I know Coach Adams, he's right off here if you can't see that. I'm not just pointing randomly to someone off to the side. I know the caliber of person he is, and I've always heard good things. And I was like, if that ever opened up, I want to go there. And, the Lord was like, here it is, buddy. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to step through that door.
All righty. Well, so the Panthers last Friday night lost 27-20. Talk a little bit about how the offense worked, some areas of improvement moving ahead, because I know that you're going to get better and better. Talk about some of those areas you're going to kind of work on in this week and the weeks to come.
Well, the good thing is I will say that every game that we've played, because, honestly, to me, since we haven't had the pandemic, this would have been like a scrimmage type setting where you need to have those games so your players can gel. That's the thing with every offense, obviously. But between every scrimmage and game, we've gotten better. So that's the plus side. And really it's just trusting the system and getting together. I know there was a lot of – they had both teams, they knew each other. So there was that heightened sense of I want to outperform my buddy who's across the ball. T got into a better rhythm later on, and then we've had discussions. We see film. That's the beautiful thing about this pandemic, though, is we've learned how we can actually have meetings online where we don't have to do face-to-face. We see areas of improvement. We were so close. We left about 4 touchdowns on the field that were just overthrows. They were open, and he sees that. He knows that. All the other players know it as well. So we're just going to go out there, and really my mantra is just get 1% better every day. Because that's the beautiful thing. The magical thing about life is compound interest. When you get, you don't look at it, but every day you get 1% better. So in 7 or 14 days, you're better than you were then because you're just getting 1% better every day.
Interesting way.
If that makes any sense at all, because y'all are looking at me like, what in the world is he talking about?
Well, it's the first time I've heard that. And obviously, you hear compounding interest when you're talking retirement and financial and investments. So, yeah.
That's my math coming in. I also teach math, so I try to.
Now, what are you at the high school teaching math?
Yes, I am. I am. I do Algebra 2 and foundations of algebra.
Wow. So that's impressive. So you actually have a lot of classroom time, home working on, lesson plans and grading papers and doing all of that good stuff. You really should have been in the PE department. That's you can work in like weight room.
I do. It's just I've always been a big numbers guy. I went the pace route. So I didn't even go into wanting – or I've always wanted to coach, but I wanted to be a computer scientist. So I have a dual degree in mathematics, computer science. And then I was able to get into coaching, and I was like, I like being around the kids. I like all this. So I went the alternative route to get in.
Well, very impressive. So anything else you want to add for the fans? This will be Thursday night that this will go live. So
I'm just thrilled to be here. Please come support us. The kids love it. And I just want to, again, this beautiful man right here, thank you so much for bringing me, because I love being here.
Well, we're glad to have you here in Batesburg-Leesville. Welcome to Panther Nation, and welcome to the Panther Pit. Panther Pit. Easy for me to say. Tony can edit that out later. No, he can't. That one's going live. So, all right. So we're going to wrap up this segment. We'll be right back with head coach Gary Adams in the Panther Pit for our final segment.
When it comes to planning for your future, you want an advisor who understands your Christian values. Ameriprise Financial Advisors Trey Bruner and Hayward Barnes offer financial planning based on biblical principles. They can help you plan for your goals in a way that is consistent with your faith. Call them today at 803-641-2192. Office is located at 152 Lawrence Street Northwest in Aiken. Ameriprise Financial provides financial services without regard to religious affiliation or cultural background. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
And welcome back into the Panther Pit alongside head football coach Gary Adams. I'm Jay Hendrix. We want to touch on a few other sports in the Panther Nation. Coach, tell us about volleyball and what's been going on the court.
Well, right now with volleyball, they have 2 more games, home and away matchups to end the region play. They'll be against Newberry home and away this week, and then they'll wrap it up next week against Saluda home and away. I think right now we are probably in second place. We lost 2 matches to Gray. So if things continue to go well, we should be able to make the playoffs this year.
That'd be very good. Also, you mentioned the Christiane English's Panther tennis team. They're also heading down the stretch.
Yep, they too will also be wrapping up region play next week. They'll be home and away versus Newberry, and then home and away versus Saluda. Next week they'll be at Saluda, then home, then at Saluda, and that'll wrap up region play. And we'll kind of see where we fall as far as the playoffs and getting the girls ready for the actual state championships.
Yeah, playoffs in tennis is challenging. There's only the top 2 teams go, and I know the last couple of years they've matched up with, I think, Christchurch, and that's always a tall task there. And then cross country, my wife is the cross country coach, but they're on the road this week at North Augusta, and then they'll be back home. I'm just going to take that one, since she's got, as I like to say, I'm the assistant to the head coach.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they got North Augusta this week, and then they'll be home in 2 weeks for a home meet, or next week they'll be home.
Yeah, and then they'll get ready for region, which right now that's still kind of a question mark with all of the different situations that are going on with the COVID. So we'll have more information exactly where they'll be at for region.
Well, hopefully that'll be here at Batesburg-Leesville. Get that home course advantage.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
A few years ago, BNL hosted the region cross country and claimed both boys and girls. I'm not a runner. I'm not sure how much the camera shows, but I'm not a runner, but my wife is. And no, you don't need to pan down there, Tony. Don't pan down. But, cross country is a unique sport. The slogan is my sport is your sport's punishment. So, you got to go run hills. Well, that's what they do every day is run hills and just do a 5K over and over and get better and better. So hopefully Panthers can host that in a few weeks and maybe get another region championship in cross country.
Yeah, and then with our middle school programs, we have middle school volleyball. They have a few more games. They play once a week. And then our middle school football team will have their home opener this week. they'll be getting a chance to play their first game. So we very excited about what we have going on at our middle school. Middle school volleyball currently undefeated right now, I think. I know they were successful against Gilbert, and they were successful last week for their home game. And got a chance to see our middle school football scrimmage the other day, and they look pretty good as well. So excited about what the future holds with our young athletes at the middle school.
Always good to get a victory against Gilbert, right? So, well, how are tickets going to be handled for middle school football? We've talked about varsity football. How's middle school football?
Middle school tickets for football for middle school tickets for middle school football. Sorry about that. We're trying to do advance sale tickets so that you can purchase them before the game. But this week, because we are just getting started, we may have to have a couple at the gate. We'll let you know more about that for sure as the Wednesday gets closer.
And they can follow on Facebook. Is it Lexington 3's Facebook page? Will that be the source of that information?
Yes. Okay. And like I said, but right now we're trying to do as much as possible pre-sold because we don't want to have anyone collecting money for tickets. So more than likely you'll have to have your ticket pre-sold.
Alrighty. And that does segue into Friday night. Again, Panthers will be home at Panther Stadium, a 7:30 kickoff as Batesburg-Leesville takes on the Eau Claire Shamrocks. Again, it is homecoming 2020. It is senior night. And make sure you go online to blpanthers.com to purchase your tickets in advance for the big game. And keep your eyes posted to the school district's Facebook page for some more information. And, Coach, any final words?
Just come out and support us senior night as well as homecoming this Friday.
Sounds good. And that will wrap it up for the Panther Pit this week. For Coach Gary Adams, I'm Jay Hendrix, and until next week, go Panthers.
This has been a production of Carolina's Community Radio Sports.